We're on for a little while.
We weren't scheduled.
Well, I don't know, I mean, we're gonna take, how long is your?
Ms. Wilson, good afternoon, this is Carrie, can you hear me okay? Ms. Wilson? Hello, Ms. Wilson?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, yes, this is Carrie, are you here on the John Doe matter?
I am.
Okay, and who do you represent?
I represent John Doe.
Okay, all right.
But I'm Washington counsel, and our motion to be admitted pro hoc vice is pending today, I believe.
Oh, okay, and all right, we'll note you as Washington counsel. And then what's your bar number?
My Washington State bar number is 18213.
18213. Okay, thank you, Ms. Wilson.
You're welcome.
And then I see somebody with the name David. Hello, David. I don't see the last name. This is Carrie, the recorder. Just trying to note your appearance.
Yeah, and you know, that we.
What, who do you represent? David? Hello, David? Okay, trying to unmute you. All right. Let's see. Allison Warden. Good afternoon. Allison Warden, you're one of the counselors for, let me see, can you hear us okay, Miss Warden? We just want to check your audio also. Miss Warden, can you?
Thank you. I can hear you, and yes, I'm one of the Washington counsel for Sunny Singh. I won't be appearing on the record today.
Okay, you will not. Okay, well, we can
no.
Just note you are Washington counsel also?
Yeah, just Washington. I will, I'm going to renote that in my name. That it's just, I'm just Washington counsel for Mr. Singh. Yeah.
Noted that you are present. Thank you, Ms. Warden.
Thank you.
Okay. And then I see the initials of APBL. Can you identify yourself, please? APBL. APBL. All right. How about let's go to Michelle Mallory Willems. Is that you? I see your picture. Hi there. It's just here.
Hello, Your Honor. I thought I would turn my video on.
I'm her recorder, and yeah, we appreciate that. Can you tell who you're representing, Ms. Mallory Willems?
Yes, I am representing interested person John Doe.
Okay, interested person John Doe. And you're also from Washington?
No, I'm from Reno. I'm with Muffin Cox and Lagoy and Mr. Shu on this matter.
Okay, Mr. Shu. Oh, I did see Mr. Shu also. Okay, we will note you are present. Can you give us your bar number?
Yes, it's 14929.
Great, and you're out of Reno. All right, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Sue?
I'm here.
Okay, yes, hi there. Okay.
Hello.
Hi there, earlier. Oh, are you the one with the initials? Oh, no, you're not. Okay, nobody. And who do you represent again, Mr. Sue?
John Doe.
Oh, okay. And your bar number is?
5374.
5374.
How's it going?
Okay, got you noted. Thank you. Then let's see. Initials of APBL. Now let us know who you are and who you represent in the John Doe matter. Yeah, so. Mr. Lelbert. Hello, Mr. Lelbert.
Hello.
Hi, tell us who you represent, Mr. Lelbert.
Oh, guys,
District Court 26 is now in session.
Washington counsel for Sabina Singh.
Please be seated, come to order.
Carrie, before we go on the record,
Okay, good. You want me to say muted, Judge?
yeah, just for a moment.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got the search warrant phone. Okay, so, if we need to unmute,
Muted.
I'll get your, no, sure.
so for the record, we're gonna go back on, the record with our item that we started at 9 AM, which was, Sturman versus Camp, and that is case 867845. We're here to complete the testimony on that proof up. So we're gonna trail the other matter pending that. Thanks.
So, Your Honor, I will call my next witness, which is Alexander Costa.
Is Ms. Costa gonna take a stand?
I think, yes.
Do you have a set of exhibits that you want her to look at with you, or does she have a set of exhibits? Because, as I said, I gave that other set to the clerk, and I think.
Well,
I've been involved, so-
I have another set, Your Honor. Let's see.
Okay, so she's got,
I will list.
she's got a set that she can look at up there, great, yeah. So that's, great, just, then she can come up and testify from
Okay.
the stand.
Doing
Fine. It's
All
not
right, so
tabbed.
anybody who wants to
You just want to step.
log out because your matter's not gonna be called for probably another half hour, we'll let you know when we're back on, for the other matter.
Solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Yes, I. State and spell your name correctly.
You need to state and spell your name.
Alexandra, Alexandra Costa, Costa.
Thank you. Go ahead and have a seat there, and Mr. Braccio can ask you the questions.
So would you state briefly your education level?
My educational background, all are relevant to this case. Relevant to this case, I have an MBA from the Wharton School of Business, University of Pennsylvania, with a minor in accounting.
So minor in accounting?
Yeah,
Okay.
And you've known the plaintiff in this case for many years.
35 years. I met him about 4 or 5 months after he came to this country.
And you speak Russian and English.
Yes.
And you previously worked at the Russian Gourmet Delis, that's the businesses that Mr. Zourab had.
We started it together in 1996.
And do you have knowledge about the accounting system that the Russian deli uses?
Yes, because I set it up. One of the things that is on my resume that about 3 years after graduating from the Wharton School, I started a software design business where I designed customized accounting systems for small businesses, a variety of them, completely customized. So it was something just along the lines that I did. So I set up the entire accounting system in QuickBooks.
And you have been given a power of attorney by Mr. Zourab to act on his behalf?
Yes, on February 28th, actually before we started this lawsuit, we were trying to clear that $20,000 from the Bank of America of the forged checks. So he needed me to talk to them.
And you have been working in connection with this case on his behalf since we filed it in March of 2023.
Well, actually, he came to me for help for November 2nd, 22. So I've been on it for almost 2 years.
And in connection with your participation in this lawsuit, have you had occasion to review the records that were produced by Bank of America?
Yes, I reviewed them all.
And that's approximately 10 years of records?
9 years for 2 accounts, Irina Camp and her late husband, and Irina Camp jointly with Alexander Boftovich. So it's 2 accounts, 12 9 years, 12 statements a year, each statement between 6 and 10 pages. I calculated a total of 322 statements because I also included Diablo Mining account and Alexander Boltovich personal account. Everything I could get through July 23rd.
And you are aware of what the salary of Irina Camp was between 2015 and 2019?
According to her bank records, she regularly deposited a paycheck. Actually, it was deposited electronically most of the time. It was between 35,000 and 40,000 after tax deductions.
And in connection with your review of the bank statements, did you notice an excess deposits over and above her net paycheck?
Yes, I did. Immediately.
And did that continue between the years 2015 to 2019?
Yes, until she left for Las Vegas, until she stopped working in Russian gourmet stores.
And in addition to the extra deposits, did you notice any other transactions in Irina Camp's bank account that were unusual?
Once I noticed extra cash deposits, and they were not checks, they were cash in ATMs. The first thing I did, I asked Zourab whether Irina had a second job. He said no. He knew for certain that she didn't. And then I started looking at her bank statements at the expenses part and noticed a very unusual number of tiny little withdrawals on her debit card, like 1 cent. And I immediately knew what was happening. This happens when someone rings up a ticket in our Russian store. Virginia has a sales tax on food. This was the problem. She rings the ticket with 7 or 8 items. Then she cancels them out, refunds them. And 90% of the time, the sales tax is not calculated properly for the refund. And you end up with 1 cent or 2 cent difference. And she was running her own debit card. Otherwise, she couldn't close the cash register.
So
there is a number of them in our.
So let's turn to Exhibit 1. Exhibit 1 are documents that you compiled. The first number is 156. You have the exhibits there, or if you can look on.
I had the map here, yeah. I put together a map to show that she was making those deposits on the way from the stores to her home. I'm from Virginia. I lived there for 30 years.
So
and all ATMs were on her way between the store and her home. She didn't want to bring cash home.
And turning to the second page, that is 157. Would you explain what this document is?
I was summarizing in Excel my research of those documents, and I was in particular interested in paycheck that's clear. And then there were some counter deposits that I didn't know what they were, I didn't count. But ATM deposits started, if you could roll it up a little bit when they actually start appearing, and I indicated where the ATMs were. She was depositing different amounts of cash, and increasingly more as time went by. Some months there were up to 15 deposits to $3,000, $4,000 total, especially during the holidays. And then what I had was the transfers. Whatever she was had left over, what she needed in Virginia, she was sending to Alexander, who lived in Las Vegas. So I eliminated transfers so they wouldn't be double counted.
So looking at that first page, at the bottom is unaccounted VA, that's Virginia, ATM cash deposits.
Yes,
So in this first year, 2015, the excess amount was $405, correct?
yeah, she just started.
Okay, and so then
It was a small store, she just started.
let's go to 158 and 159.
You will see a big difference.
So on 159, if you look at the bottom, it shows the unaccounted ATM cash deposit, 5,126. Oh, is that 159?
Yeah,
So your testimony is that that amount represents during the year 2016 cash deposits over and above her paycheck.
yes, unearned income.
Okay, let's turn to 160.
I would guess undeclared as well.
So 160, that is ZOUT 160. This is accounting for the year 2017. If you can roll through to 162.
Yeah,
And 162. Yeah. So,
$11,832. It just goes up and up.
so that represents the cash deposits in excess of the paychecks.
Yeah,
Okay, let's go to 163. This starts 2018. Yeah, roll through. So it's 163, 164, 165, 166.
yeah, it was 27,000 and something in 18. And then half a year, 2019, after which she moved to Las Vegas.
So just to clarify, December of the end of 18, she had deposited 27,406. Is that correct?
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I didn't.
yeah, it is correct. I mean,
So then scroll through to 169.
so here are the totals. Over the period of 3 months in 2015 through 6 months in 2019, $63,089. And I was very careful not to include anything there that I suspected could be legitimate. It went into the next column.
So if you would turn now to page 170 and explain what you see on that page.
These were my calculations. These were actual line items from the bank statements and where they came from. There was a store in McLean where she worked rarely, and Fairfax. Then she mostly worked at Woodbridge. She was alone in the store. It's a small store. And you can see the number of those tiny little deposits, charges that she couldn't possibly buy anything with. A lot of them are just 1 cent, but even when she had 51 cents or 52, there were no products in the store that she could buy. $3 maybe.
Is there any reason why she would use her personal ATM card in connection with her job at the deli?
No, only if she was buying something. As I said before, if she had a discrepancy between the sale ticket and the refund, she had to charge it to something, or the cash register would not let her continue.
So going through to 173. So you've identified and put into this schedule all the tiny expenses run on her
You see
ATM.
on this page, it's mostly 1 cent. In Fairfax, then she started working in Rockville, Maryland. And then those things stopped because I found out that the Rockville store had 2 cash registers. They used one practically all the time, but the second cash register existed and could be used to ring up some sales and not even declare them. Close the ticket,
А как ты
close the
знаешь?
day on the second register, and whoever was collecting
Да.
the daily
У камеры
take
были у
wouldn't
Zouraba
even
везде.
know that the cash register was used.
А Виктор
So that
Тарасов
you're
что
referring,
там
if you
делал?
turn to the next page, 173, or you,
Well, yeah, starting from 2018, she was working mostly in Rockville store where there was a second cash register.
Но не было там, да она же
and
врет.
looking at the next set of pages, that's 74 through 78, they appear to be through 79. They're Bank of America records, and you have identified various arrows. Would you explain the purpose of those arrows?
They're the same as in my Excel sheet,
Да,
except that this
надо
is
было,
actually
что?
the bank
Две
statement that shows those
Zourab
1
рассказывал.
cent charges for a debit card.
Во-первых, у меня был аккаунтер, и я не могла пользоваться, я не одна работала в магазине. Как,
And
что
based
я
upon your personal knowledge, having worked in the store,
программу делала?
and your personal knowledge of the accounting system, and the review of these bank records, what is your conclusion or your opinion with respect to the cash deposits in excess of paychecks in conjunction with these numerous small charges?
Well, in my opinion and my experience, this was way too much for her, to explain for her personal consumption. She had, I believe, a circle of friends who knew that she would work sort of under the counter with
Ты
them.
посмотри,
They would come and she would ring up a sale.
посмотри.
Then she would cancel it out. Then they would give
Ты
her
посмотри.
maybe
Нет,
60 or 70%
она
of the
делала.
value in cash
Мгм.
and take the merchandise.
Что, да, друзья у меня.
I ran that store for 6 years.
О, а сама-то
То есть
так.
ты там работала,
и ты это же?
Your Honor, move for the admission of Exhibit 1.
So exhibit one, is her summary, which she prepared, and some additional, like, bank records that she had gathered, that support how she did her analysis.
Yes, in fact, she's reviewed the 9 years, culled through 9 years.
And so, yeah, and that's kind of my question, because I understand that, we have the discovery rule, but how far back can we go?
For discovery?
For statute of limitations, I mean, because it wouldn't trigger until he learns of it, so, and it's a 3-year statute. So, do we only go back 3 years from when it stopped?
Okay, 2023, that goes back then to,
Well, no, but I'm saying he didn't learn about it until 2023.
He didn't.
So, that tolls the time for him to start the case, but how far back can it go? Because this is going back over 9 years, but it's a 3-year statute for fraud. So do we only go back 3 of those years? Or is it your position that you can go back and claw back all of it? Because, I don't know, it seems like, you've got a 3-year statute of limitations, even if it's told until he discovers it, it's still 3 years. So aren't we limited to 3 years of, transactions?
Zourab was not aware of it until
No,
I told
he's
him.
not.
Sorry.
It's illegal, which is fixed.
so 3 years from 2023 brings us to approximately somewhere in 2000.
No. What I'm saying is that it's told until he discovers it, but it would be 3 years. He would be allowed to go back for basically 3 years. Wouldn't he? I mean, assuming it happens, discovers it in 2023, it happened in 2021, 22, 23. He gets 3 years. He can go back as far as 3 years. Otherwise, it's barred. So doesn't he just recover for 3 years? From whenever he discovered it, it's told it's fine that he didn't bring it before that, but it's a 3-year period that he can recover for. How would we go back 9 years?
Well, we went back 9 years for the purposes, we asked for the records. She went through the records, and as the court indicated earlier, it's indicia of a series of bad acts and continuing conduct.
Correct. I've got no problem with it for what that demonstrates, but my other problem is just how much would be recoverable, because it seems that on any statute of limitations, if day one is your statute of limitations, you go back 3 years from when you discover it, right?
I think there's also a 4-year statute. I don't have it in front of me. But
it's free for fraud, which is 110. three.
20, so that would take 3 years back would be to 2020.
No. What I'm saying is he gets 3 years. I mean, hypothetically speaking, it's told. So he gets all that period of time that he didn't know about it. It's told. Doesn't matter if he didn't file. But anybody who's filing a fraud suit gets to go back 3 years. So he would go back 3 years from whenever the last transaction was to, and recapture that, because your statute of limitation bars you beyond that 3 years.
So the court's suggesting that would be 2016 through 2019?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Yeah, not before, not the 15.
I don't think we'd go to 2015.
So 2016 through 2019.
Yeah, because she said it's the first 6 months of 2019, so we would take the last 6 months of 16 and the first 6 months of 19 to make our 3 years that he can recover full. I mean, I understand it's like $400 in 2015, but just again to be clear, I mean, the statute of limitations would bar anything beyond the 3 years, I think.
So again, from the court, can you repeat that? So it's 2000, the full year 16, 17, 18, or it was part 16?
I believe she said that it stopped midway through 2016, so it's just 3 years back from whatever the last transaction is that he's now discovered. We go back 3 years from that transaction.
So the last one was 19, right?
Yeah, 19. So whatever month that was of 2019, we go back 3 years from that.
Okay.
To whatever part of 2016 that would take us to. So he gets a 3-year period that he can recover once he's discovered it.
So that excludes 2015 and part of 16.
Yeah.
Ты же ему каждый вечер привозила выручку.
Turn to, in connection with your assistance with Mrs. Zourab, did you work with law enforcement?
Yes, Henderson Police Department.
And
They contacted us.
They contacted you? And
Yeah.
did you participate with Mrs. Zourab to run a credit report?
I'm sorry, can you repeat?
Did you run a credit report for Mrs. Zourab?
Yes, we had great difficulty getting into any online services because all of them already had some logins to which we didn't have passwords. We had to go through .gov, through ID.me, all of that just to get his tax returns from IRS and get credit report and get into his Social Security website. So yes, we ran a credit report. It was very long.
And in that credit report, there were applications that Mrs. Zourab did not make?
Yes, I found during the period when he was out of the country, starting in April 20th, 2022, and until he returned in October 20th, 2022, there were 21 applications for various store cards and credit cards in his name and under his Social Security number.
But his name.
Obviously, he could not do that because he didn't even have access to internet in Georgia. And he didn't need it. He
А
had
может ты сделать?
57,000 in unused credit on his own credit card.
So that was, if we turn to Exhibit 10, we showed a document to Mr. Zourab. We look at Exhibit 10. Are you able to identify what that document is?
Submitted and 10, did we pretty submit?
10.
Yes, I can.
He's already admitted.
I can identify this document. We realized fairly early after Zourab and I started looking at through the records and banks and whatever, that because he didn't have any access to the mailbox, his mail was being withheld from him. So we opened the post office box in a nearby post and forwarded all his mail from Via Mantova, 29 Via Mantova, to that post office box. This was the first document that we received from that forwarding. This informed him that this credit card that he never saw, never knew about, had $840 on it, as of April and was sold to a collection agency. Obviously, the bank one, it's Credit One, tried to contact him before. He did not answer. He did not know about it, and now it's in collections. This is the only bank that I know of that actually responded to those 21 applications and issued a credit card. The rest were denied.
So turning to page 225 in Exhibit 10, when you say 21 credit applications, are you referring to
Yes, I am referring to this.
the list and it goes on for
Yeah.
Then
2 pages? That is,
Capital One, Macy's, JP Morgan,
Okay,
everything.
understood.
okay.
А что это, своего компьютера? Откуда она это взяла?
Did Mr. Zourab have access to his personal email?
He had a personal email and he could have access. He never used it.
Well, let's just finish it
No,
up
take
here.
one.
Page 13, Exhibit 13.
Or exhibit 13.
Exhibit
He,
13.
he's just not a computer guy.
Okay, so, 13 we don't have as admitted.
Let's look at Exhibit 13. Exhibit 13 is a credit card for Mr. Zourab, and there are some markings on this.
This was about Monterey Cordova. The computer, very high-end Mac Studio computer,
Так он же его сам.
purchased in Zourab's name in his absence, because you can see the date of the billing is September here. He was out of the country, delivered to 29 via Mantova, accepted there, and the credit card record reflects that Alexander Bogdovich put himself as a co-applicant and put his own phone number as a primary contact number because he had to receive that merchandise. He couldn't, and Zourab's phone was not operating when he was in Georgia.
And this Bank of America credit card application you received how?
This is not a credit card. He bought a computer and financed it through the Monterey Cordova company and directed the billing to Zourab's bank account. So we found it by accident when he closed this account and we opened a new one in Chase. I called them to ask where I should transfer the billing and discovered that it was a finance company for a computer that he never bought.
And this bank account record you got from Mr. Zourab?
This was from our Bank of America record then.
Okay.
Oh no, that's his account, yeah. I managed to print the last 5 years of his Bank of America bank records because he closed the account because he was afraid that it was hacked. And so I just printed it in time. I was unable to get the credit card printouts. They were already closed.
But you directly accessed his bank records to get this piece of
Yes.
paper?
He logged in and I printed 5 years worth of his bank records that we went through later and identified every charge.
Exhibit 1. Would move to admit exhibit number 13.
Exhibit 13 is admitted.
Did I do one?
No.
Did one, right? Did we admit exhibit 1, Your Honor?
Exhibit 1 was admitted. Yeah. Okay, so exhibit 1 will be admitted. And then we next talked about 10, which is already admitted, and then 13.
Okay.
And that's admitted.
So anything this. So you also reviewed the purchase agreements for Lake Las Vegas via Monteva?
Yeah. When we got them from lawyer's title, I went from 1917 pages of that record then.
And who was identified as the contact for the buyer, which in theory was Mr. Zourab?
There were some documents that were signed at an earlier date where it was only Zourab's signature and his phone number because he didn't have email. Later contacts were all had Alexander Bogdovich email address, and also there was an agreement to receive documents electronically, and all the rest of the later documents were electronically signed by Alexander Bofto, by Zourab ostensibly, and
But Mr. Zourab could not access himself without assistance.
no.
Let's turn to Exhibit 23.
And it wasn't his email. He wouldn't receive it. It was 2000.
Okay, so, 23?
Exhibit 23. yes.
23 admitted?
Yeah, it's
No,
Exhibit
okay.
23.
Okay. I think 23 was already discussed, so what, we've already got it admitted.
So 23.
It's already in.
Okay. Would you describe what this document is?
Yes,
Familiar with
this is a post on Irina Kamp's Facebook. In color, it looks much better. The hallway in that townhouse looks pretty dumpy in the left, and then very beautiful with different colors, remodeled on the right. And what she said, that she was thanking David Pfoffer, who was the real estate agent on the purchase of Viamantova townhouse, for the house of her dreams. And
Meaning the Lake Las Vegas.
Lake Las Vegas, the townhouse that Zourab bought and paid every single penny for. She was thanking her real estate agent. She also removed every mention of Zourab's career from her entire history on Facebook. Every single photo, every single comment, every single reference. Like he never existed.
Let's turn to Exhibit 25.
That was before the lawsuit. That was when he was in Georgia and she was remodeling the house.
Okay, thanks. If you'll just answer the questions that are asked, maybe we can speed this up.
Let's turn to Exhibit 25. And I'll just,
I think it's also in. 25's also in.
also in? Okay. How about 27? Is 27 in?
No.
We've got it.
27?
We have 27 admitted. You don't?
Oh, yeah, I did.
Oh, okay, yeah, 27's admitted.
Only when I don't have set.
Is which?
7 is all when I don't have. 27 sheet.
7. Oh, 7. If we turn to Exhibit 7, on date stamp 209, there's a single sheet of calculations. Did you prepare that?
Yes, I prepared that document.
And would you explain what that document is?
Yes, Zourab sold his store to two ladies, mother and daughter, who worked for him in his Rockville store. They could not pay the full purchase price of $120,000. The agreement was that they pay $40,000 cash on the spot because he needed to pay off the suppliers, and the rest would be paid in installments. So they have been sending installments to him starting in September 2020. This came from his bank records. In 21, they stopped at 21. The total that they paid, and you can see that 40,000 is accounted for. That was the initial contract, 5,000, 25,000, 10,000. That is what they paid cash on the spot. The rest, $59,129.30, they paid in installments to him, but this amounted only to $99,129, and the contract was $120,000. They stopped payment when Alexander Boftovich sabotaged the transfer of the liquor license. It ended up with the new owner flying to Las Vegas, coming to their development in Lake Las Vegas, not getting permitted to come to the house. All she needed was Zourab's signature to transfer the license, and she had a 30-day deadline. Eventually, they got that license without signature, but it caused them so much trouble that they stopped paying, and he lost money on it.
And the contract itself is attached in the next 3 pages, that's 210 through 213, that's the actual sales contract.
I'm sorry. What about the contract?
That's a copy of the contract?
Yes, that's contract. On the second page, there are numbers. $120,000 is on the second page. Yeah, there are the numbers.
Did we exhibit 8?
8 is in.
8 is in? Okay. 9, I think we're just wrapping up here. 10, 14, 14. Would you turn to page 14, exhibit 14, sorry.
Yes.
Would you explain what this is?
That is another example of mail having been withheld from Mr. Siscaridze. This is a tax bill from the Virginia Department of Taxation for $300 underpayment on the 2019 tax return. So by March 2024, when we received it for the first time to the new post office box, there was $394 in penalties, $137 in interest. So the total bill came to $831, which he paid. Again, I'm sure that Virginia Department of Taxation tried to contact him before.
So let's look at 16. Yeah, can we admit 14? Exhibit 14. Move for the admission of exhibit 14.
Yeah, it's exhibit 14.
So now let's turn to exhibit 15, no, sorry, 16. Do you recognize this document, this page?
Yes, this is my translation of a message in Russian that Irina Kamp sent to Zourab Jr., implying that his father is developing dementia.
This is a piece of paper, this is a text that you received, and on behalf of Mr. Zourab, you translated it.
Yes, I have the original, and this is the translation.
And in this, Irina Camp indicates that she believes that Mr. Zourab has dementia.
Yeah.
I would move for admission of 16, Your Honor.
Okay, 16 will be admitted.
17.
I mean, I know what happened there, but it's hearsay. It's what Zourab told me.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So exhibit 17 is a copy of your resume.
Yes.
We'll need to admit that. You recognize your resume there. You created that.
Yeah, I did. This is a shortened resume. There were a lot of other things that I did not include. Not relevant to this case.
Turning to 18.
So that's what? 17? We'll admit it.
Okay, turning to 18. Would you explain what 18, and this is a tax return?
Well, there is a second page to this.
Yes, second page.
This is the relevant page. After Anna Lorenzo, the accountant who replaced his longtime accountant, Victor Tarasov, who passed away, filed the 2019 personal return. Alexander Boftovich declared that she was incompetent and that it needs to be amended. And so he filed the amended return where he did not change a single number, but directed the IRS to send the refund by mail instead of electronically. So it never went to Zourab's bank account. It's $936 refund that was sent by check by mail. And
When you say there's no changes, you're comparing column A to column C?
Yeah,
The original amount?
they're
to
the same
correct-
numbers.
They're the same, so no amendment?
There was no need for amendment. The only need was to change, the only change, actual change, was to direct the IRS to send the refund by check instead of electronically.
And if we look at the next page, it states an explanation of the changes. How did you get this tax return?
It was in the folder of Anna Lawrence tax return. It was there.
That's Zourab's account.
Zourab gave it to me. Yeah.
All right, I move for admission of 18.
Okay, what is it? 18?
Mm. Your Honor, Exhibit 20 is a copy of a public record. This shows the initial deed to Zourab and Irina Camp, which he's testified that was not reflective of his belief or understanding.
So the court can take judicial notice of a public document? So it can be admitted? And that's 20?
That's 20. And then there's 21, is that in already?
21's in.
Okay, so 26. Mysteries. So you referred earlier to the sabotage on the sales agreement by Alexander Vovitich. That is the tail end of the sales agreement for Zourab to the buyers.
Yeah.
And looking at Exhibit 20 and 26. Oh, I'm sorry, 26. You recognize this letter?
Yes.
And what was this letter?
Zourab's son flew in from Sweden after Zourab was served with eviction notice on February 23rd. And he was packing his things, but some of them were heavy. So his son flew here, and on the last day of the eviction notice, March 1st, they went to Vermontova 29 and were denied access and could not remove any of his things. They were simply told, we're going to send it to storage, you can pick them up later. So all his clothes and we had this earlier, the Henderson court decision. He eventually got his belongings on the 16th of the month. Until then, all of it is. The interesting part about this document is that it's dated March 1st.
We don't
Okay.
about it.
Okay, we move for 26 admission. Was it 26?
Again, it's addressed to Zourab, and what's her knowledge about it? She said his son flew into town. I don't understand if she would know about it.
What is your knowledge? You did not receive this directly, correct?
What? Yeah.
This was sent to Mr. Zourab.
It was sent to my address.
How was it sent to your, scroll back?
Well, it was sent to my address because he had no place to go, so he was staying in my guest room. They had my address.
And that is
Here's
Indigo Spring Street.
That's my address.
So, Your Honor, based on that, I would move for admission of that.
Okay, sent to her address, but addressed to him.
Yeah. Well, he had no place to go.
No, that's not the point. It's addressed to somebody else. So how did she give it?
Acting on his behalf pursuant to the power of attorney.
So she got that power of attorney when?
In February of 23.
And this is dated?
This was in...
They had address because they had a tracker on his car.
March 6, 2023?
Yes, Your Honor.
So this is after she had the power of attorney. Okay, so I'll admit it, because it was after she had power of attorney. Okay.
27. Now, looking at exhibit 27, you recognize that document? Set of emails. Yeah, I'm gonna ignore that.
Again,
I'm gonna-
address to
yeah.
somebody else, so.
I'm gonna ignore that, Your Honor.
Yeah.
So I believe based upon that, I have no further questions.
All right, thanks. So, here's where I was talking about the 3 years. Yes, there is a 4-year statute, under, 11.190 subpart 2, within 4 years, except as otherwise provided in an action of a person alleged to have committed a deceptive trade practice in violation of specific statutes. So it's this Trade Practices Act that's the 4 years applies to. 3 years is an act, and that's under subpart, C, action for taking, detaining, or injuring person's property. Then we go on to, I think it's D, D, except as otherwise provided in action for relief on the ground of fraud or mistake. But in the case of such an action, if it's deemed to accrue upon the discovery of the aggrieved party of the facts constituting the fraud or mistake. So his right to sue starts when he discovers it, but he has a 3-year period he can recover for. Whenever he discovers it, fine, but it's a 3-year period. So that's why I said mid-2016 to mid-2019. That's our 3-year period. And that's 11.190 subpart 3D.
And I agree that 4-year reference is not applicable.
Specifically, it's statutory now. Okay, all right.
All right, and no further
Thank you,
questions.
you can step down. Thank you so much. All right, so, based on, do you want to submit an order that is based on, the testimony? Because again, as I said, I couldn't tell from your, request, exactly what it was you were looking for, because, I understood the monetary damages and the value of the real property, but you also wanted the quiet title. So certainly quiet title in the name of, Mr. Zourab, seems appropriate. He purchased that property. He never intended, to transfer it. And so property should be quieted. We've got, if I understood these transactions that we're talking about here, the various checks and such, taken from his various bank accounts, and the cryptocurrency issues. So how much do you want to like lay out something that calculates how much that actually is? Since
Your Honor, yeah, on 29, in fact, you don't have a copy of this anymore, but I have basically a reformed deed. I didn't call it a quiet title, I call it a reformed deed.
Okay. And so, are you looking to have, direct what, that, the clerk of the court would sign that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Reforming that deed?
Yes, so I have an order and judgment. Court directs its clerk to execute the reformed deed.
Correct. Okay, so that's item 1. We would reform the deed, and at best title exclusively in the name of Mr. Zourab, History. However, it's his name. I butcher it. I have to. And then with respect to elder abuse, as it's testified, he's over the age, and financial abuse is a basis for double damages plus attorney's fee. So you'd be seeking double damages.
Yes, Your Honor.
And so, again, because I indicated I was only going to award damages for a certain period of that time on the fraud issue, what would you be, do you have that number, or do you want to recalculate? Because you'd provided a proposed order, but I think some of the other.
I will subtract out the 232 was the house.
Mhm.
So if the house comes back to him, I can't say, now recalculate. But I might say that the 232, if it's double damages, another 232 should get tacked onto the finances. So.
Okay. Yeah, that's an interesting question, because the elder abuse statute does allow for double damages, but if he's getting the house back, and he's getting the house back, so there's no longer damage, so I mean, was he deprived of the use of it? I mean, so I guess that's just how were you going to be calculating?
Just because of the vagary of how that is calculated. So then I think we would go with the direct monetary damages would be the other damages less the fraud part, that is cutting at mid-16 to 219. The 232 comes back, and then the damages are the double damages. But again, it's an interesting question. If the damage is 232, even if you recover 232, the damage technically would be 464 under the Elder Abuse Act. So if we say 464 minus 232, we add another 232 to the double financial damages.
Okay, well, if you could, like, lay out in a revised judgment what it is you're seeking, I'll take a look at, that, because I mean, yeah, that sort of, because again, you can only recover so much. Like you said, not double damages. If you're getting the house, you don't get the house and the value of the house. So, I'd have to look at the statute on elder abuse to see what those damages would be. Okay, so we also, this is where we're not clear on, the punitive damages, are you looking for punitive damages in addition to the elder abuse?
My read is that the elder abuse damages are, in effect, the punitive damages.
Okay.
So I'm not asking for any damages in addition.
Right, and then, because the elder abuse statute does provide for attorney's fees and costs, you'd be submitting a Brunzel affidavit on that?
Yes, I will be.
All right.
Could I have a second to say something?
1 minute here. So the court is going to grant the default judgment and reform the deed in the exclusive name of plaintiff and award damages for fraud, conversion, and elder abuse based on the financial damages, and that's doubled due to the statute. And then because of the elder abuse statute does provide for attorney's fees and costs.
Okay, and Your Honor, is it possible that a order could also indicate that the property needs to be vacated within 30 days or some reasonable period of time?
He's entitled to take possession within 30 days of recordation of the deed?
Yes.
Okay, sure, yes, I think that's appropriate.
Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm sorry to interrupt, but could I have a second to say something, and then I'm done? First of all, there's no verified signature in this complaint. Second of all, Ms. Gloria, on one of the hearings, you indicated Mr. Zourab was present when he was not. You're actively forging and falsifying court records. Plus, you're receiving personal documents from Vericchio. You have a personal interest in this case. This involves Henderson police corruption, as well as the corruption in this court. Nothing in this case was done correctly. Nothing at all. And you know, when I came to your first hearing, I was actually excited because this was something I found interesting, the law and everything, and you seem to have a lot of knowledge of it. And it was really disappointing for me to find out that you're corrupt and you're not doing anything by the law. In fact, you ordered to deny the default. Right after ordering the default, you ordered to deny the default a few minutes after that. Now you're sitting here and saying you're going to approve the default judgment. Nothing was done right in this case. Mr. Vericchio, he's committed so much fraud. There's hundreds and thousands of pages of documents attached to exhibits in this court case. You have not looked at any of them. You've been actively trying to, you've stricken some of them. That's what you've been trying to do. You do not have a fair hearing. You have not followed the law yourself. And the main reason for that is because you have imaginary people at your hearing and you sign a court record saying that this person was there. He was not. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be adjourned. Thank you very much. And then the folks who are here for the 1:30 matter, which is John Doe, can get set up.